2023. Did you know Negro History Month was founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the iconic Omega Man that devoted his life to documenting significant contributions Blacks have made to the United States of America? I am Brother Donald Williams II, the proud 2nd District Chairman for the Fatherhood and Mentoring Committee. I'm grateful for the opportunity to provide leadership and strategic direction for 5 states: New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. The 2nd District has over 4,000 brothers and approximately 85 chapters. And on behalf of the 38th 2nd District Representative, Brother Delrico Gales, and the Brotherhood of Mighty 2nd District, we welcome you to Q's on the Move. At this time, I welcome my friend and co-host, Brother Jeffrey Diggs.
Chair for the Fatherhood and Mentoring here in the 2nd District of our 5 states, and welcome to Q's on the Move, where we're here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And we're letting you hear directly from different chapters within the 2nd District to talk about their incredible community engagement and mentoring and the work that they do throughout the Omega Nation. Across this 2nd District, and sometimes and oftentimes since the pandemic, sometimes the efforts often bleed over into the rest of the country. So with that, we have an exciting show ready for you tonight, and just a little bit of housekeeping. So let me just do this quick disclaimer to let everyone know the comments and views expressed by the individuals are their own and not necessarily those of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated or the entities in which they are affiliated with. With that, let's get into our tonight topics with the family. Q's on the Move about having meaningful conversation and impacts in their community. And with that, just want to give one quick shout out to our service provider, the Stanton Group, who's been a driving force in making sure that we have quality podcasts for you every Tuesday night. So, Brother Don Williams, I give it back to you.
Thank you, Brother Jeffrey Diggs. Hey, look, we have reason to celebrate the many contributions and achievements Black Americans have made throughout history, despite ongoing systematic oppression. Together, even today, we have achieved outstanding triumphs and major successes. For example, only the 3rd Black governor in Westmore in the state of Maryland. He's a member of the Alpha fraternity. The city of Pittsburgh has the first Black mayor who was elected in the name of Ed Gainley. And in Montgomery County in Maryland, we have the first Black female superintendent, Dr. Monifa McKnight, member of AKA sorority. And we have a number of elected officials that are members of the Divine Nine, a Black Greek organization. We have reason to celebrate. And so with that, I'm excited about today's guest. If education is the passport, then mentoring is the pathway to the future. And so with that, Brother Diggs, I'm excited. We don't have not only one, but two Slayworth, Starworth Omega men who have demonstrated leadership in their communities. They are leadership in action. Today's focus will be putting a spotlight on Omega Youth Leadership Conferences.
Yes,
go ahead.
And with that, first, let me start by introducing Brother Keith Pimpleton. And I had the pleasure of working with this brother with the International Youth Leadership Conference. And so he's a great brother. He's been dedicated to not only the youth in the 2nd District, but nationwide. Well, throughout the Omega Nation. So worldwide is his efforts in getting out there. Welcome, Brother Pimpleton.
Thank you very much, Brother Diggs. And protocol having been established, I want to thank Brother D.R. Gales and Brother FMC Chair Williams, Brother Fatherhood Chair Diggs, for the opportunity to share out tonight with my fellow brother panelists And to all you viewing this podcast, great evening. My name is Brother Keith G. Pemberton, and I was initiated into Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated through Pi Chapter, which is Morgan State University, in the legendary year of 1996. I'm currently the member of Beta Kappa Kappa, the On Point chapter in High Point, North Carolina, in the 6th District. Now, the 6th District consists or is comprised of 2 states, North Carolina and South Carolina, where the district representative is Dr. Al White. I bring greetings from the International Fatherhood and Mentorship Committee, where Brother S. Earl Wilson is the chairman. Brother Ray Bell is the vice chairman of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And I serve as the vice chairman of the International Youth Leadership Conference, IYLC, where Brother John D. Cooper is co-chairman. And we serve at the pleasure of our 42nd Grand Bosselist, Ricky L. Lewis, and under the direction of First Vice Grand Bosselist, Mark E. Jackson. My introduction.
Yes, my brother. So let's keep it rolling here. Let me bring in our second panelist, Dr. Ramon Hart, Sr., who serves the community of Pittsburgh. And Brother Hart has not only served Pittsburgh, but he's been also the 2-time district marshal to serve as the district marshal for the 2nd district. So, and with that, we have the 2nd district conference coming up, and so, Brother Hart, give us some history on you.
Will do, good brothers. I just want to say greetings and thanks, Brother Williams and Brother Diggs, for inviting me on. And I'm humbled to share the stage with Brother Pemberton as well. I'll try to match his enthusiasm. But I am Ramon Hart, Sr. I put that emphasis on senior because my son is now an Omega man as well. RJ Hart, so I gotta give him a shout out. But in terms of my background, I was initiated through the infamous Iota Phi chapter by way of Slippery Rock University. I currently am a member of the Iota Phi chapter in Pittsburgh. I served as the bosselist of the chapter. I served in the district marshal position during COVID, and the conference got canceled the first time, and then I served as district marshal again, and the conference got canceled again. So this is the 3rd time that Pittsburgh will be hosting the district conference, and we're happy to be able to get that done. And now the district marshal was Brother William Blackburn, affectionately known as Skip. But I also serve as the chairman and CEO of the Iota Phi Foundation in Pittsburgh, in which we engage in a long list of youth programs that serve the community in the greater Pittsburgh area. So again, thank you for having me. I look forward to a great conversation.
Excellent. Hey, look, I believe mentoring and Black history, like a glove, go hand in hand. And so with that, family, who was your heroes and sheroes that impacted or influenced your life in terms of the lamp of knowledge and the light of wisdom? And so if our distinguished guests, we're going to ask you, who was your mentor that influenced and impacted your life?
So I guess since I'm 92 and
here we go.
Guess I'm first, some protocol here. I guess. But no, how could you not talk about Dr. Carter G. Woodson? He's very inspirational in so many ways. I mean, not only, being the person that really that invented us celebrating this month, which we all know started off as a week, but he has a long list of things that we can kind of be grateful for, that he's kind of empowered us to embrace our history, so much that in Pittsburgh we created a Dr. Carter G. Woodson Academy, which is a Saturday academy in Pittsburgh, in which middle school students in grades 6 through 8 come to our community center every week, every Saturday, and they have a curriculum that's presented to them by Black men that focuses around STEAM, the science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. So we honor him, all throughout the year, and we do that through, teaching a culturally relevant curriculum to our community. And it's free of charge, and it's, again, delivered by Omega Men, Black men in our own community. So that's the person that comes to the top of my mind.
Okay, 92. So yes, that's hard to act to follow. When you say the father of Black history. So I'll try and do my best. Well, when we talk about mentoring, I guess my first mentor was my father, and he's no longer with us, but there was some jewels that that I learned from him, some tools that he provided, and there's some things that I when you say you learn the good as well as the not so good, well, yes. So it was all a learning process. And that, even though my father was not a fraternity man, he was very personable. He can walk in the room and everybody, every eyes would turn towards him. He was that person. In my collegiate experience, I've had, oh my goodness, coming from Pi Chapter, I have to talk about, the Earl Graves, who took time to speak, took time to share with brothers on campus. The George McKinney, who I happened to walk over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where we had the Grand Conclave in Alabama. Wow. I mean, when we're thinking about gentlemen who had, or brothers, Omega Men, who had an impact, there was one, and I don't know if you can see this, but it's a book called Others Thought I Could Lead by brother James S. Avery Sr., who was the 28th Grand Basileus and out of the second district. So when you have folks pouring into you and sharing, when someone can write in this book, an outstanding Omega Man that I will track and follow the greatness and of this commitment to family life, all the best. I mean, you can't help but to try and make an impact in the lives of folks, and not just the impact you're talking about in the schools or the community or the church. There's so many different ways you can impact folks. I learned from those gentlemen, and continue to learn from our grand officers. I yield back my time. Hopefully I answered that question.
Well, look, since you're on a roll, we're going to dive right into this. Tell our listeners about the International Youth Leadership Conference. What is it? And how does Omega help and show our young people how to lead, proceed, and succeed in 2023? Where, when, and why, my brother?
Okay. The International Youth Leadership Conference, the IYLC. Now, this is the international, this is a program. It's one of the flagship youth events that always kicks off the Grand Conclave or an International Leadership Conference. And it targets high school young men from across the globe. I'm going to say it again, from across the globe. We've had impact when we do our conferences. Sometimes it's virtual, sometimes it's face-to-face, and we've also had a hybrid opportunity. Speaking of which, July 12th, 2023, I'm going to say it again, July 12th, 2023, the International Youth Leadership Conference will be held in the country of the Bahamas, on the campus of the University of Bahamas. So when we talk about different things that, Omega Men impact, they're subject matter experts in various regions. of the globe. We'll facilitate free workshops. I'll say it again, free workshops, that include but not limited to self-esteem, enhancement, goal setting, academic success, health and wellness, manhood 101. I may have to come back to this afterwards about manhood 101, financial literacy, social and personal responsibility, civic engagement, family unity, and we'll end up with Black history. And this year we'll have our first International Black History Quiz Bowl during the International Youth Leadership Conference. Now, their subject matters will deal with industries from A, agriculture, to Z, zoology, anything in between. Oh, I can still. Do you want me to still continue? I mean,
No. Jeff,
he said, "There's more. There's more."
Let's get brother
yes,
Doctor.
Brother Dr. Hart. Forgive me, 92. Forgive me.
No, not at all, man. I love to hear it.
So, hey, brother Dr. Hart, thank you for your leadership in the second two-time district marshal. Hey, look, tell our listeners about what the second district have planned for the second district youth leadership conference. What was that look like in April?
Will do. But before I get into that, I do want to say that we're actually building up to the youth leadership conference. Like, we've already started pouring into some young people, high school students in particular, and we have some young people that we're mentoring right now who are aspiring to go to college. We do things with them. We have some 6th to 8th graders that we do things with all year long as well. And we're trying to create a pipeline. So we start with 6th to 8th. We want to empower them in the high school, and then we want to see them off into college. So we do things like camping with the Qs, cooking with the Qs. We got our Carter G. Woodson Academy that I mentioned. We have a dance workshop, drumming workshops, art, media production academy. We got a lot of things that we do with the youth all year long in our community center. We just purchased a mansion, and we developed that into a community center in the heart of an African-American community, actually the community I grew up in. How that leads on to the Youth Leadership Conference. We're taking high school students on an HBCU tour in April. So from the 2nd to the 9th, and those same students are going to be a part of the Youth Leadership Conference on April 22nd in Pittsburgh. And we're going to focus in particular on our young Black men, young Black males in high school who attend schools in this greater Pittsburgh area are going to have the ability to experience workshops led by Black men, us, Omega Men from the 5 states. These are rising young professionals. So a lot of these Omega Men that are going to be presenting, there are young bros. They're younger, they're young professionals who can relate to the challenges that these young men are facing. And the sessions, they're going to revolve around, helping them to be exceptional leaders inside and outside of the classroom. The workshops include maintaining their mental health. We'll touch on, community violence and how that impacts our young men and post-traumatic stress disorder, things of that nature. We're going to talk about securing your bag, AKA securing your financial futures for some of the older bros and the older listeners. But the young people talk about securing their bag, and we're going to talk about how they can secure their financial future. And then last but not least, we'll give them some tips for college success. And, my doctorate is in education, and I just believe that you do have to go into that environment with a plan. So, you got to figure out if you got the right major. You want to know how to study and how to prepare to be successful, so that when you get out of school, you don't just have a job, you have a future. So that could be entrepreneurial opportunities as well. So That's what we have planned. We're excited. There's going to be a sea of purple and gold in the city of Pittsburgh from April 20th to April 23rd, and I can't wait. We're gonna roll it out, that purple and gold carpet for people.
Dr. Hart, with you being serving as having been the pleasure of being our marshal twice, and with the inclusion of the Youth Leadership Conference, give our listeners a sense of why is the district conference important, or the importance of having the second district conference.
Well, being a Steelers fan and it being the 75th Mean Joe Green, no. I had to say something about the Steelers. You had to slip that in there, but you know, the district conference is a time where we come together and we really reflect on the business of Omega. I always talk about being on cue, and in order to be on cue, you know, you got to make sure your business is in order. And the district conference is important for us to pause and to think strategically and intentionally about getting the work of Omega done. We come together across the 5 states as brothers, as Black men navigating challenges ourselves, not only in our undergrad brothers who need us to wrap our arms around them with their navigating, even as you know, as adults and professionals, you know, we're at war in our workplaces. And so we come together and we need the strength of our brothers. And that fellowship is really important in addition to the business of Omega. So I just think it's always important for us as Black men to come together for business and to have some fun, and really to just empower each other and nurture one another.
And I thank you for all that you do.
I appreciate it.
With brother Pimpleton, I know that with the youth leadership, and I had the pleasure of serving on the committee for some time and working with you, and we've heard some talk about some of the local chapters in the second district trying to bring some of our youth to the Bahamas this year. Is that something that you're encouraging nationwide, worldwide?
Worldwide, of course. Thank you very much, Brother Diggs. Now, the disclaimer is the chapter and the district responsible for the lodging and the flight. I have to put that out now. But when we have some chapters across, and we're encouraging each district to have a youth leadership conference. We wanted to go even down to the chapter where there are local youth leadership conferences. The impact that Omega Men can make on youth in their community. I have to share that one chapter, Sigma Phi in Montgomery, Alabama, they actually flew children, youth, to Johnson C. Smith, which is in North Carolina, where we had our last Grand Conclave and our International Youth Leadership Conference. They flew on a private jet. Students, about 27 students, 27 young males. First flight for most. Can you imagine the impact that had? Not even to think about. They will probably never fly coach again. You know, I mean, they had first class. They had their own private field that they walked. I mean, it was tremendous, and I'm sure there's some other chapters around the country that are thinking of doing the same thing. Delaware, the second district, had youth from Delaware fly in. So going through the process of travel outside, you know, so you read and you can travel outside, but these students were able to apply it, get on a plane, you know, or go through the process of going through TSA, you know, or knowing that what they need to have, packing, making sure they can pack, etiquette on or the plane, etiquette in a hotel room. You know, so many learning opportunities, you know, before they even get to the conference. So
Right.
yeah, so globally, yes, I anticipated. When we had our virtual, we had students from Switzerland, we had students from Canada, and I know there's going to be, we know this in fact is going to be an international youth leadership conference on international grounds. So it's when we're looking at expecting, we I put the disclaimer out there. I don't have to say it again. Well, let me say it again. Chapters and districts will be responsible for the lodging and the flights of the students. And not only is there the International Youth Leadership Conference, but there's also the Omega STEM program. And I'm sure brother Lee G. Willis is going to get opportunity. He's extremely knowledgeable man that works for NASA, and pushing the STEM, Omega STEM program. So I had to plug him in as the international chair, brother Lee G. Willis. But yes, I hope I answered your question, brother Diggs.
Yes, sir. You certainly did, and with that, we're encouraging all chapters to get involved, and if as a district, if chapters just come together, whatever they have to do to try to send a few of our youth, great opportunity for them to, and not only to lead the country, but to work and be a part of a well-structured organization with the Youth Leadership Conference. I mean, I know that you brothers put a lot of work and effort into this.
Brother Diggs, I'd be remiss. Now I named Alabama, so I have to name the other states, or I'm gonna hear it. They're probably just trying to call me now. So Texas, of course, New Jersey, New York, Virginia, and we go, of course, South Carolina, because we were in North Carolina, so you had the majority of North Carolinians there. We had Georgia, Florida, California. So we had quite a few states involved in this, and this was one day. So just to bring you to, I know we're coming up on the end, but we've had a face-to-face, we've had a virtual, we've had a one-day IYLC, and now we're going to have a hybrid international IYLC. And this started all in 1988 in a Dallas, Texas hotel. And the opportunity, when we talk about mentoring on the website, we asking for those young people who attended an international youth leadership conference who are now Omega men. Here's an opportunity to mentor someone who actually is following in your footsteps. I yield my time.
Man, I tell you, it is so exciting. I'm just saying, wow. I just want to make sure our listeners understand that with all that's going on in this world today, Omega is demonstrating that mentoring is the pathway to next level success. We're reaching back into the communities. And something Dr. Hart said, bottom line, our young males can't be what they can't see. So it's important, parents, get your boys connected to Omega Sci-Fi. We are doing the work in the community. We're coming to the end. And I got this one question. If you brothers can, what are some of the challenges connecting, and this will be our last question, with today's young people? We got a generation that not like when I was 17 or 18 or 19. What are some of the challenges? And then you can have a closing remarks as you finish that up, Dr. Hart.
Wow, challenges. I mean,
how do you not leave about the challenges?
in this society? There's a lot of them, and I guess what I'll say is the challenge. I kind of alluded to it previously, but just kind of navigating all of the negative mental models there are about Black people that are out there. I think people are socially conditioned, and even ourselves sometimes, to hate Black people. And so, when you have self-hate and you have, those who aren't, Black hate us too, like it's navigating all of this hate and all the negative mental models that are out there is really challenging. And so I think that's why it's so important for us to offer a contradiction, a counter narrative. I always tell the young people I love them. I love them. I show my wife love in front of them. My daughter, my son, I tell them I love them. I give them hugs. Everything that they may not see all the time. And I love my community. So white people need to see that too. Like I love my community. So there's nothing I wouldn't do. And so that's just, that I guess that's my, my parting words is that, we got to do a lot to defeat these negative mental models that are out there about Black people and the Black community. But also we got to stay encouraged in the work that we do. We know it's a lot. We know it could get heavy at times, but there's a lot of people that are benefiting from what we do. And we just have to find the energy to continue to do it.
Brother Pemberton, your closing remark.
Now I know I have 30 seconds, if that. But Brother Dr. Hart mentioned about him being an educator's PhD in education, and you find out what my profession is, because when we're talking about social emotional, when we're talking about social action, when we're talking about social skills. By now, you might guess that my profession is a social worker, and my specialty is school social work. There are so many barriers out there, and with preparation, with engagement, with being intentional, we'll remove those barriers. Being intentional. The word you used, Brother Dr. Hart, I refer, you said love. I have 3 sons. I have a wife. Well, let me say I have a wife. Let me make sure I put that out there. My wife, I love my wife, and I love my sons. And I tell them that. And you tell them when people can hear it. You don't, it's not where you're in closed doors. People hear it like, wow, he said he loves you. But I digress. This mentoring saves lives. You never know who's watching. And when you're a leader, when you're a servant leader, it's going to move mountains and remove barriers.
Brothers, I thank you for all you do and your passion. Brother Wade.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, good brothers. We appreciate the work you put in to do this podcast, and I definitely appreciate the invitation.
Appreciate the opportunity. Are we editing this? Because Brother Dr. Hart's going to have to move that Steeler banner behind.
Not at all.
Well, Jeff, you wanted to give us some final thoughts?
Again, we've had our marching orders, and as both these brothers had alluded to, the mental model, and especially the mental model of Black males. Our 2 guests tonight are the epitome of Black males. Fine, upstanding young gentlemen, educated. Work hard for their families, love their children, love their community, and that is what the epitome of Black men are. And and I just applaud the brothers who go out every day and give back. The time that you gentlemen use, to give back to the community could be used for a lot of other things. But on behalf of the community, thank you for what you do.
Humble to
And
serve.
with that, this concludes this segment of Q's on the Move. I want to just say thank you to all of the brothers, Omega Psi Phi men that are doing incredible mentoring work across this Omega Nation, across this country, across this globe. Thank you so much for impacting and changing the world through mentoring. Omega's in a full court press, and we want to make sure that you come along with us. So I see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. every Tuesday, 8 p.m. We are starting next Thursday, this Thursday with Brother Tryman in Philadelphia, quarter 3. And with that, we look forward to seeing you on Thursday for Q's on the Move.
On the move.
Can we do that one more time? Can you count it off, brother Williams? Count it off so we can all do it.
All right. And with that, we look forward to seeing you every Tuesday for Q's
Q's
on the
on the
move.
on the Move.